Hi, I'm Harold. Do you want to work from this office? Well, let's make sure you are comfortable with client-side web languages, cross-site scripting, session hijacking, XSS mitigations, and local file inclusion. These are critical weapons that you will need as a cyber soldier. So let's get started. Client-side web languages are programming languages that are used to create client-side scripts that run within a web browser. These scripts are executed on the client's computer rather than on the web server, and they are used to add interactivity and functionality to web pages. Some examples of client-side web languages include JavaScript, a programming language that is used to create dynamic and interactive web content. It is widely supported by web browsers and is often used in conjunction with HTML and CSS to create rich and engaging web experiences. HTML, a markup language that is used to structure and format web content. HTML stands for HyperText Markup Language, and it is used to define the structure and layout of a web page, including headings, paragraphs, lists, and other types of content. CSS, the stylesheet language that is used to control the appearance and layout of web content. CSS stands for Cascading Stylesheets, and it is used to define the font, color, and layout of web content, as well as to create responsive designs that adapt to different screen sizes and devices. Client-side web languages are an important part of the modern web, as they allow developers to create interactive and dynamic web applications that run within a web browser. Teams, Microsoft Teams is a collaboration platform that brings together chat, meetings, files, and apps in one place. You can use it to share files and collaborate with team members in real time. SkyDrive was a file hosting service that allowed users to upload and share files online. It was replaced by OneDrive in 2014. Network File System (NFS) is a network protocol that allows you to share files between computers on a network. It is often used in enterprise environments to share files between servers and clients. Cross-site scripting (XSS) is a type of cyber attack that involves injecting malicious code into a website, with the intention of executing the code in the web browser of the website's users. The injected code is often in the form of a script, such as JavaScript, and it can be used to steal sensitive information, such as login credentials, or to manipulate the website's content in order to trick users into performing actions that they did not intend to. There are two main types of XSS attacks, reflected and stored. A reflected XSS attack involves injecting malicious code into a website through a URL, and then tricking a user into clicking on the link. When the user clicks on the link, the malicious code is executed in their web browser, and they are vulnerable to the attack. A stored XSS attack involves injecting malicious code into a website's database, where it is stored and later executed when a user accesses the website. XSS attacks can be difficult to prevent, as they often involve exploiting vulnerabilities in a website's code. To protect against XSS attacks, it is important for web developers to properly sanitize user input and to keep their websites up to date with the latest security patches. It is also important for users to be cautious when clicking on links, and to only enter sensitive information into websites that they trust. You are earning that corner suite office now. Are you ready to discuss session hijacking? Session hijacking is a type of cyber attack that involves taking over an active user session on a computer or a network. The attacker does this by intercepting and stealing the session cookie that is used to authenticate the user, and then using the stolen cookie to gain access to the user's session. Session hijacking can occur in a variety of contexts, including on the internet, on a local network, or on a single computer. It is often used to gain unauthorized access to sensitive information, such as login credentials or personal data, or to perform actions on behalf of the victim. There are several methods that attackers can use to perform session hijacking, including packet sniffing, man-in-the-middle attacks, and malware infections. To protect against session hijacking, it is important to use secure authentication methods, such as two-factor authentication, and to protect against malware infections by using antivirus software and keeping all software up to date. It is also important to be cautious when using public Wi-Fi networks, as they are often more vulnerable to session hijacking attacks. Cross-site scripting (XSS) is a type of cyber attack that involves injecting malicious code into a website, with the intention of executing the code in the web browser of the website's users. To protect against XSS attacks, it is important to implement a variety of mitigation techniques. Some common XSS mitigations include Sanitizing user input. One of the most effective ways to prevent XSS attacks is to sanitize user input, which involves stripping out potentially dangerous characters or input patterns. This can help to prevent attackers from injecting malicious code into your website. Encoding output. Another effective XSS mitigation technique is to encode the output of your website, which involves converting special characters into their corresponding HTML or URL encoded equivalents. This can help to prevent malicious code from being executed in the user's web browser. Using content security policies. Content security policies, CSPs, are a set of rules that define which types of content are allowed to be loaded on your website. By implementing a CSP, you can help to prevent attackers from injecting malicious code into your website. Implementing input validation. Input validation is the process of checking user input to ensure that it meets certain criteria. By implementing input validation, you can help to prevent attackers from injecting malicious code into your website. Updating software and security patches. Keeping your website software and security patches up to date can help to prevent XSS attacks, as many vulnerabilities that can be exploited by XSS attacks are addressed in software updates. Local file inclusion, LFI, is a type of cyber attack that involves tricking a web application into including a local file in its output. This is typically done by manipulating input parameters in a way that causes the web application to reference a local file on the server, rather than the intended file. LFI attacks can be used to gain unauthorized access to sensitive information that is stored on the server, such as configuration files or logs. They can also be used to execute arbitrary code on the server, potentially allowing the attacker to take control of the server or to steal sensitive data. To protect against LFI attacks, it is important to properly sanitize user input and to validate all input parameters to ensure that they are safe and appropriate. It is also important to keep all software and security patches up to date, as many LFI vulnerabilities are addressed in these updates. Finally, it is important to implement strong access controls and to regularly audit your systems to identify and address any potential vulnerabilities. Alright my cyber soldiers, I think you should get promoted to sergeant soon, winky face.